Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another daily devotion. Good to have you with us. I'm in West Palm Beach in the gardens of this art museum. And unfortunately, I don't know if you can hear it or not, probably you can, but back there's some construction going on. But it's still beautiful here, no matter what. So I thought that I would, I'm reading this book by this guy named Ken, I think it's Ken Shigematsu. And the book is called, hold on a second, I'll tell you. Survival Guide for the Soul. And so I'm in this art museum, and I personally find art to be extremely comforting, and it's good for the soul. If you haven't been to an art museum lately, you should definitely go and check it out. But I'm reading this book, and I thought, like, man, maybe I should just read, for today's devotion, maybe I should just read this story out of this book, and then we can chat about it if we want. But kind of just think about what this little story means. Okay, so let me just read this and then we can get into it. First of all, welcome. If this is your first time with us, great to have you here. My name is Dave. I'm a Christian recording artist and a worship leader based in New Jersey, and I get the honor and the privilege of traveling from Maine to Florida and back, playing nights of worship and telling people about Jesus. So it's pretty cool. Just check you guys can check out this background. So here's pretty cool sculptures. So I'm in the gardens of this museum, and there's some pretty neat sculptures in it. So as I walk around, maybe we'll catch a few more. But let me sit over here on this bench and let me read this excerpt from this book to you. And I think it's going to be pretty relative and applicable to some of us, if not all of us. But again, it's a book called Survival Guide for the Soul, and it's by a guy named Ken Shigematsu. I've been reading it on and off, I would say, for at least a year, maybe 2 years, and I just kind of dip into it every once in a while, and today I dipped into it and I found this story. So, Father Thomas Keating, in his book Intimacy with God, An Introduction to Centering Prayer, describes the Holy Spirit as a divine archaeologist. We could probably stop there, but we won't. The Spirit starts where we are now, whatever our age, and begins the work of restoration by revealing and healing the most destructive aspects of our addictive behaviors and current relationships. The Spirit then moves deeper and deeper into our lives, not necessarily chronologically, uncovering the bedrock of our earliest emotional life, where we first experience rejection, trauma, insecurity, and fear. Again, we're referring to the Holy Spirit as a divine archaeologist, okay? Though this excavation process can be painful, when we offer our hurts to God, we experience cleansing, healing, and a greater wholeness. Our relationship with God and other people becomes less cluttered by obstructions. Okay, so I probably could stop there, but let me keep going, because there's a really great story that a lot of us can probably relate to. So, Maya is a young woman from our community, this is Ken speaking now, who was recently baptized in the ocean. Just before she was immersed in the chilly waters of the Pacific, she shared how she had been raised in a home filled with brokenness and pain, verbal and emotional abuse, as well as physical violence. Her parents separated and got back together numerous times. The family moved 16 times, which meant 16 different schools for Maya. Right? Imagine just what that looked like as a child. 16 different schools, 16 different moves. I mean, that just must have been crazy. Okay, Maya had tried to numb her pain by spending reckless amounts of money. Some days she spent $50 at Starbucks alone. She also tried astrology, numerology, and Buddhism, but nothing brought her the peace that she was seeking. Then one day she opened a Bible that she had been given at school, but that had been collecting dust in her bedroom. As she began to read, she sensed the whisper of heaven right? A lot of us have sensed this same whisper. Do not be afraid. Look to Jesus and he will carry you through all things. Overcome with a feeling of peace, love, and safety, she became aware that her sins separated her from Jesus, and so she repented and gave her life to him. Reflecting on her journey, Maya shared, the strongholds of feeling stupid and worthless, of fear and guilt, of shame and confusion, of depression and loss in my life are melting away by powerful encounters with Jesus' love, which are transforming her into this unique creation. Now as Maya sits silently in God's presence, she senses God affirming her and healing the wounds she experienced during childhood. Again, so let me go back to the beginning here and read this quote from Father Thomas Keating. I may end up checking out this book. It's called Intimacy with God, An Introduction to Centering Prayer. But it describes the Holy Spirit as a divine archaeologist. So the Spirit moves in our lives, moves in our hearts and our minds and our souls, and teaches us over and over and over again, because sometimes it takes multiple learnings for us to realize, let me just change hands here before my arm falls off, for us to realize what the Spirit is trying to teach us, right? And that, man, sometimes that can be hard. And as he said, that excavation can be difficult in our lives. And so here we have this story of Maya, who didn't know Jesus, was hurt, broken, struggled with a lot of stuff, and at the end of the day, encountered Jesus, fell in love with him, and had her life changed. And so the Spirit working through not only Maya, but her friends and her family, probably people in the church, through the words in the Bible, right? And then ultimately through the teachings of Jesus and hearing Jesus's voice saying, listen, it's okay. What you've been through, I've been through. And I didn't think I was gonna head there, but we've been studying through the book of John, and we are in the middle of the story of the woman at the well. And the first thing that we hear and read about in that story is that Jesus was tired, so he sat down by the well to rest. And one of the points that we found in multiple references to that one sentence in the book of John is that Jesus had to sit down because he was tired, and he had to get water because he was thirsty, and he was very human in the way that he went about his ministry. He had this body that we all have. And so we hear these stories, not only of Maya, but of so many different people that have these struggles, these hurts, these pains, just all of this stuff that just gets in the way of our lives and our walk with Jesus. And sometimes we're like, that might be happening to them, but that doesn't happen to us. You know? I'm trying to find, where's that? Oh, let me go back here. The Spirit moves deeper and deeper into our lives, not necessarily chronologically. Very important point. Uncovering the bedrock of our earliest emotional life, where we first experience rejection, trauma, insecurity, or fear, then the excavation process can be painful. The excavation process can be painful. And when we offer our hurts to God, we experience cleansing, healing, and a greater wholeness. Our relationship with God and with other people becomes less cluttered by obstructions. So, I don't want to get too deep or too far into this, but what does your daily life look like in your relationships with the people that surround you, right? Is it cluttered by baggage? Is it cluttered by obstructions? And I think by obstructions, he means all of the baggage that we carry around, the hurts, the pain, the struggles, the wronged word, the way that we feel wronged in the midst of our relationships. And at the end of the day, somebody I was talking to the other day said, all we can do is pray. Pray for our enemies, pray for the people that hurt us, pray for the people that love us, and pray for everybody in between. And so, let me wait for this truck to pass. And so we get into this place where we're just like, it comes down, I'm writing a devotion, actually a chapter in the new book that I'm working on about surrender. And it really does come down to surrender. It comes down to surrendering to Jesus so that we can have in our lives this compassion and this mercy and this grace and this love and all of this stuff that Jesus continually teaches us over and over again in Matthew and in Luke and in John and in Mark, just those first 4 Gospels. And so today, maybe just take stock, take a minute, step back, kind of talk to God and just say, Father, what does this all look like in my life? What are the things that I need to let the Holy Spirit kind of excavate in my heart and in my soul so that I can be cleansed of them, kind of a good way to put it, but also so that I can just forgive. Maybe it's just about forgiveness for you. But I know that a lot of us have been hurt. A lot of us have been struggling with a lot of different things. There's a cool Keith Haring sculpture right there. And so whatever you're struggling with, whatever you're hurting with, whatever is going on in your life, God knows it, first of all. And He has the answer. And He loves to be involved in the process. So maybe the prayer, I'm just trying to think about what the prayer should be, right? The prayer to the Spirit in us. And just say, Holy Spirit, I give you the permission. Like we have to ask, we have to grant permission, but maybe we do. To excavate my heart and my soul and my mind and all that I am so that I can be a more open vessel to what Jesus has in store for me. Maybe that's what it's about today. So today, openness, surrender, faith, trust. Let God move in your hearts and let the Holy Spirit excavate you so that what Jesus has called us to do can be more apparent and we can be more open to it. Maybe that's what it's about. Okay? Man, good stuff. Anyway, if you want to check out the book, you can. I may actually be speaking on this in our next online retreat. But if you want to check it out, it's Ken Shigematsu, Survival Guide for the Soul. It's good stuff. Hey, if you want to join our community, we've got a waiting list going right now before we can let people back into the membership. So head over to joindaysband.com, get involved there. It's a great community. We got people praying for each other and praying with each other and sharing life together. It's just great. So again, that's joindaysband.com. Get involved there. And yeah, it's good to be with you guys. Had a rough week this week. So it's good to just kind of talk about Jesus for a minute. Talk about how He loves us, how He cares for us, and how we need to let Him in more and more so that we can be transformed more and more and we can reflect Him more and more in our lives. Okay, we'll see you guys soon. Head over to joindaysband.com to get involved. And we'll see you on the next one. Alrighty, take care.